as old as the mountains, and one that we all know very well. And that is the power there is in standing together. The panel joining me this evening are all leaders whose strength and success has been formed through the power and the benefits of collective movements. And they are here to teach us how stronger solidarity can benefit each and every informal trader. It is my pleasure again, Madam President, to welcome you to our Saita Straight Talk. Welcome, Mrs. Rashida Muller.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to be on this platform tonight.
Last week, we traveled to the Northwest, and I said every week we're going to be traveling somewhere else. Tonight, we're traveling to Zimbabwe because we have the president of StreetNet International with us. Lorraine Glovo, very, very welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me here. It's a real honor.
We have got our national organizer, Mr. Otuse Jackals. Good evening, Tusi. We have our National Director of Membership, Mr. Paul Bester. Good evening.
A very good evening to you, Comrade Louis, to everyone.
Evening, Tusi.
Good evening, Chairperson and panelists. Good evening to you, and everybody listening in. Good evening to you as well.
And then, last but not least, a powerhouse of a lady, Shireen Rowland. Shireen, you are from the Mitchell's Plain United Hawkers Forum. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you,
you,
and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Madam President, we're talking of solidarity, the power of many voices but one message. We're talking of standing together. Please, can you set the scene for us for this panel discussion this evening?
Thank you once again, Louise, our host. And I want to greet all those who are tuned into tonight's session. And let's see how we can bring across the purpose of tonight's topic. The topic of tonight is why a unified voice for informal traders. And allow me to begin with our slogan, nothing about us without us. The emphasis on us, the collective, not a I or a me or a you, but us. You know, during the apartheid regime, there was also a slogan on their coins, Eendrag maak mag. Or to translate that, unity is strength. But of course, that didn't apply to us then. But we are here now, you know, and these examples speak and are relevant to our topic tonight. Comrades, we know the sector. We are aware of its challenges. We live it every day. We all seek to uplift ourselves and to develop. So tonight we're talking about unity, and that is the stage that we are engaging upon.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to direct the conversation to Comrade Tusi. Comrade Tusi, you're the national organizer of Saita. The organization got together in 2013. There must have been lots of changes, lots of movements, lots of growth that has happened as a collective. And all because Saita represents the voice of the vulnerable worker. Take us through this journey. I think we have a 2 or 3 second lag with Comrade Tusi, so I'm just going to allow him to hear me. It's probably traveling over the Orange River, getting to Comrade Tusi?
I don't know if it is my connection, but you guys percent of what you say.
We can hear you. Please carry on. Comrade Tusi? If you can hear me, hold on, then I'm going to move on to the president of StreetNet so that we can just keep the momentum going. Lorraine, as the president of StreetNet International,
I can only hear 10-15% connection in the side.
Okay, no,
but
that's perfect. Comrade Tusi, we can't help for a bad signal. That is unfortunately outside of our control. But thank you so much, Lorraine. Let me just come back to you. StreetNet International. We've spoken to our national president of South Africa, the South African Informal Traders Alliance, and now we've got you, the president of StreetNet International. Now, you didn't become an international movement just by deciding to be an international movement. You must have had collective buy-in, collective reasons, fighting for one goal. Please take us and help us understand why StreetNet became an international organization and what the benefit would be for us as South Africans to align ourselves into one voice, one message, one sector.
Thank you, Louise. And I'll start off by briefly explaining the outreach of StreetNet, of which Saita is a member. And StreetNet International is a global alliance of over 600,000 informal economy workers in 52 countries. This global alliance, which works with the informal economy workers around the world, has got a high percentage of women as informal economy workers. And I'm quite happy to note that even within the Saita leadership, there is a presence of women. And I also note that we've got Shireen leading another organization of informal economy workers, which is very good to see women stand up and take the lead to articulate their own issues. This is very much in line with the StreetNet principles and values. And the reason why StreetNet became a global alliance was the fact that there was a gap in the representation of informal economy workers. I think we had a brief informal talk, and we spoke about there being no visibility, no space to articulate issues for informal economy workers. StreetNet is an alliance and a platform where we can come together and we can magnify our voice, we can amplify our voice and demands for decent work for the informal economy workers, among other things. And when we talk about decent work, that's where we see the need for a lot of things which affect informal economy workers globally. We may be in different countries, but we have a lot of common issues. I will quickly take us to the current situation of the raging pandemic, COVID-19. This has actually shown us that there are such huge gaps in terms of social protection for workers in the informal economy. and so many other vulnerable workers. And it is becoming highly important for us to unite and speak out as one voice, articulating our common issues. When we look at the growing informality, it also shows us that informality is no longer a choice, but this is a necessity, necessitated by the unfriendly labor laws which continue to apply in the different countries. The current form of work and the current economies which promote modern day slavery by maybe not giving even the formal workers the wages which are due to them. You find that workers put so much energy and effort in working, but they gain very little. The quality of life is still highly compromised. And as we look at COVID, the pandemic, it has also shown that there was a general exclusion of the informal economy workers, including migrant workers, from COVID-19 emergency cash and kind transfers. This has led to increased exposure to the disease, to death and hunger for most informal economy workers. This further necessitates the greater need for us to unite from the different countries as informal economy workers to push our demands for inclusion, demands for universal social protection. And when we talk about universal social protection and social protection itself, when we say social protection, it sounds complicated, but these are issues which affect us on a daily basis. I can name just a few to say when we talk about social protection, we are talking about access to such basic rights and basic necessities as access to health, maternal health care, and even access to child care facilities, which are affordable and of a good quality, be it in private or public facilities. And we also speak about the access to all these things that I've mentioned before, to say when there is a crisis, there should be a fallback plan to provide a soft landing for the vulnerable workers and the vulnerable members of society. I think right here I will take a breather and allow the conversation to continue. I will come back again if I get an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lorraine. You have touched on so many aspects that I think anybody that is an informal trader, or perhaps any of our corporate stakeholders, or just any member of the public that has listened here, is as astounded tonight to see just the many layers that there is to the informal sector and the challenges that often we take for granted in the corporate sector. It reminds me of an onion, that if you take an onion and you cut it, you see the rings, and that's almost the layers and the layers of the informal sector, and how many people and how many different circumstances we are faced with every day. But I think for me, what I want to just revisit again is that last part of what your statement was, and that is about providing the soft landing. And the soft landing can only happen when we hold hands with each other. Because if you fall alone, you fall hard. But when you fall and there's people around you, you might not hit the ground entirely as hard, isn't it? So I think that is really the crux of this conversation. And that is that together, the landing does become a lot softer. So we've been national and we've gone international, and suddenly we also realize that what we're seeing in South Africa is not just a South African phenomenon, but it's always good to hear from home. Shireen, you come from the Mitchells Plain area, and I'm sure you've got lots and lots of stories to tell us in terms of what happens when you stand alone, how the movement came to becoming a focused group of hawkers, and how that has benefited you as a collective and your association with Saita. Please take us on your journey.
Good evening. Yeah, it has not been an easy journey. It's been a journey of almost 3 decades. We've had many challenges trying to unite the sector. It was not easy. We have always been exposed to the third force influences and trying to divide the informal sector. Thus, that I feel that is the reason why we have lagged behind for the other sectors. Over 25 years ago, the municipality told us, listen, we don't want to speak to factions. We want to speak to a collective. And that forced the informal sector to start organizing themselves into organizations. And then from there, they were selected to represent. However, it was not as broad as it has become now. And it is beneficial. It's more beneficial now because we are speaking with one voice. Our outcries are the same. There is nothing different other than your commodity that you operate with, but the circumstances are the same. So we are going through training and having conversations with the informal sector. And it is often said, if you must make an example of other sectors' achievements through unity. You know, often in Mitchells Plain, we must tell the traders, listen, have you seen all the benefits the transport sector are benefiting from, the taxis and those people? Why are we lagging behind? We are lagging behind because we are not united. We need to strengthen this voice and speak with one voice. Have one blanket law covering the informal sector instead of the one municipality doing his thing and differently from the other. Because at the end of the day, we are survivalists. We are out there to survive. And we need this platform to take us beyond where we are at.
"25 years, Shireen, and you've just given me goosebumps all over.
Yeah.
But like you say, why must we always use other people as an example for what we could be doing ourselves? And I think 25 years later for you, Shireen, we have a solution. Rashida is spearheading that. And Paul Bester, who's our National Director of Membership, he has the answer as to how we're going to do that. So, Paul, the floor is yours. Please help us understand how we can become part of this collective. How can we really become us and not us and them?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. And first and foremost, let me just say this. With respect to the previous speaker, Comrade Shireen, I think she's done exactly what I wanted to do. She's just told the whole story, and I wanted to introduce her as the Deputy National Director for Membership. She's done a beautiful job. Thank you for doing what you just said. But in seriousness, let me just say this, unity is what is needed. And you sit tonight in the presence of a national president, of an international president, sitting in the presence of Shireen, Comrade Shireen, who's been in the trade for 25 years. And yet she talks of a divide. And if you look at the union environment in South Africa, look at what's currently happening. A union like Nehawu sits in Johannesburg and talks of an increase for its members. A Nehawu member somewhere in the Eastern Cape, in a small little town, Mkwandule or wherever, gets that 1 or 2 or 10% increase because he's a member and he's part of that unity. He doesn't even know the person that's talking on his behalf, but there's somebody negotiating on his behalf because they're united as a union. And he gets that. He just sees on his pay sheet the end of next month, there's a 10% increase because the fact that he's united and belongs to a united force has done that for him. Now, I think one of the issues in the informal sector, there's twofold that I wanted to talk about before we proceed. Shireen has answered me, there's 25 years as an informal sector. And I think the difference between that is the national government and the provincial government. National government has labor laws, and you work as a cleaner or as a admin clerk somewhere, the labor law protects you. Doesn't matter who's in control. But if you're in formal sector and you work in Mitchell's Plain, for 25 years it was the National Party, then the ANC, then the DA, then whoever comes in control, and each time every person in control has a different view of where they want to go. And the people that bears the brunt of that is the informal sector. First, they don't need permits because that person or that grouping is not so worried about permits. So they proceed doing that. Then the next grouping comes in, permits is needed. Where do we go? There's a whole new structure. There's a new bylaw, and they call it different new word. And the people at the ground, it's the informal sector, they bear the brunt. Now, what is a problem in South Africa is that 800 million rand is done by the informal sector. And that's a big, big bunch of money that goes to the GDP of the country. Yet they are marginalized. And I think the word informal makes people to think them as lesser. People walking the street, going into ShopRite, you talk of the informal sector, you are immediately, there's a mindset that it's an inferior trade, or people do that just to survive. If you koop sokkies or they sell food just to survive, and it's not that. It's not that. The informal sector is needed because the informal sector is what keeps the townships and keeps, the poor people and even middle class people going. I mean, I myself go to Khayelitsha and I go shop there at trades and markets on the roadside because that's where you get the freshest fruit. They get it in the morning at the market and they sell it on that day. You don't have to go to Pick n Pay that puts their stuff in the storage. So what I wanted, and I've sort of veered off my story that I wanted to go to, or the reason that you're talking to me. I'm from Saita. Saita aims and is going to unite the informal sector as we know it. Now, the message that I have out to the comrades sitting in the panel, as well as the thousands and thousands listening to us tonight on the internet and on the Facebook page, is the following: we need you to unite. And why do we need you to unite? What's the reason for that? It's so that we can speak in one voice. So that when Comrade Rashida, Comrade Shireen, Lorraine goes to a national meeting, she speaks on behalf of thousands of us. And when an agreement is signed, it's not signed for 2 or 3 people. Everybody will know about it. How do we do that? We are going to launch offices across South Africa, Saita offices, call it contact offices, so that people can have the issues come to us and belong to Saita. You can still belong to your province, to your market, or to your hawker situation, but Saita National is going to have offices across South Africa where we are going to listen to your issues, deal with your matters, and give you a resolve on that. But what is that? That's what we promise. But what's in it for you? Why would somebody join us? Saita is going to roll out benefits that's going to be streamlined for each and every trader. We are going to give you information on what is available in the market. We are going to deal with it. We currently have a tax division. If you have a business and you have a problem with your tax issues, your returns, how to get money, we even have funding available through the CFA to allow you to expand your businesses. And these are the things we are going to allow you to have, funeral policies. There's going to be legal assistance. These are the things that Saita is going to be offering you. If this is something that sort of interests you, and I must say, it's not something that needs to interest you. You need to be united. Please pop us an email at membership@sahita.org.za. Membership@sahita.org.za. Alternatively, send a WhatsApp to 061 547 5879 across the country's breadth and width of the country. Please pop us an email, send us a WhatsApp so that we can join you up in Saita, so that we can be united for, so that Comrade Rashida, who sits in front of us, who deals with our issues at NEDLAC, can speak on behalf of the informal sector united in South Africa. That's what I want to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you. Besides all of those benefits, I think, President Rashida, we'll be able to stand together on all the issues that Lorraine has highlighted, so that we can sort those issues out in our country, but also for the things that work. When next you have your international meetings, you can take case studies over there, isn't that?
Absolutely, we could do that. And it's very important for us here tonight. Like Paul has said, and I think he made the message very, very clear. You know, I just wanted to take an example that within the city of Cape Town, we have about 50 local associations. And I think the stats for this for the Cape Peninsula standing at 140,000 informal traders. If one looks across the national status of South Africa, we have statistics pointing out to almost 5 million informal workers. When we talk about informal sector, we are not only talking about street traders. Yeah. We are talking about home-based workers, that auntie that's selling samosas from home, selling kusistas on a Sunday. We're talking about the CMTs who are manufacturing at home and selling their products, you know, to a trader to then go sell out in the street. We're talking about if you are running a business informally and you see yourself in growth, belong to Saita. Saita is the South African Informal Traders Alliance. We may not represent each and every one of you on our database now, but when we talk about the issues that Comrade Lorraine has spoken about the labor issues, about the social protection, about the child care, all those things we as Saita will address at a national level. As Paul said, Comrade Paul has said that it goes up to NEDLAC, and it's at NEDLAC where labor and government, and I might proudly say the community who is represented by Dr. Pat Horn, and I've also been sitting there with her, we are addressing in particularly currently issues of the permits. And that is another big story. I don't think we're going to deal with that today. But today we want to bring the message across. The unity in this sector is vital. Like Paul says, if we ask for social protection, if we ask for maternity benefits, whether you are a member registered now or not, we're representing you. We're representing you as an informal trader. But it's important for us, like unions do, you do sign up and become a member, an official member of Saita. It will be taken forth by Comrade Paul, who is our National Director for membership. He'll be visiting all the markets and be talking to all of you across this country. And whoever's listening, whether you are in Northwest, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Northwest, Mpumalanga, we'll be coming along on a roadshow to you where we will want to mobilize all the informal traders and tell you about the benefits of belonging to Saita. We are currently engaging the Department of Small Business because certain municipalities are still wanting to enforce the fees of permits, and that's not going to be happening. So let's be together, let's stand together. Een drag is mag. So, guys, join us.
Thank you, Madam President. Paul, our National Director, you had your hand up. You need to say something else.
Yes, Comrade. Thank you, Chair. I wanted to just add on what Comrade President said. You know, the 140,000 traders just in the Western Cape. But my position is, or my point that I wanted to make is, there would be maybe 1 million traders across South Africa in the small countries. But the beauty of this is, as an informal trader, for 1 million traders, there's 1 million job opportunities. Because each trader has at least one or sometimes two people that work for him or her. And in your own right, you are job creators bigger than government currently. Government cannot create 1 million jobs. The unions cannot create 1 million jobs. The informal traders has just created 1 million jobs by being informal traders. Just by being on the floor, being on that street corner, having that stall has just created 1 million jobs. And I think this is something that join us as Saita so that we can not only look after you, but also deal with the, with your labor issues that may pertain out of this. Because we want to also treat our workers and employees at your markets and at your stalls as employees and part of, to be quality citizens. So join us so that we can also assist you with that employee position that you may have as a director of your own company. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Paul. Those are great words. Shireen, just in closing, how would you encourage somebody to become a part of this national movement?
I would start by using the COVID-19 pandemic, because traders have really lost out a lot. Had we been organized 2 years ago, the struggle might have been lesser. In my market, very little people had food to put on their table when COVID hit us. Our market was closed for 2 months. We had to go through the phases of the levels to open up our businesses. And it was a struggle. And I think that COVID-19 have woken up the informal sector even greater, because the rumors went around that this market has made an allocation, a financial contribution towards the traders and those type of things. And then we were faced with the question, why are we not getting any money? Why are we not getting any support? We're not getting this because we are not united. If we had united even just 6 months before COVID-19, they would have been so happy. And it is a very, very old process. I've also worked with Pat Horn and with Street Debt many moons ago. And I never thought that we are going to come here because of all of the challenges. People, we have freedom of speech. We have freedom of movement. We have freedom of association. Let's use it. Because 25 to 27 years ago, I think that democracy was too young, and people were still hung up with the old way of laws and rules. But many conversations have brought us to this point. And I want to applaud our president, she's our grandmother, to the sector for the hard work that she's put in. Because I have jumped off the ship many times, but I find myself coming back. I need to trade. I need to live, but I need to be protected. And this is what I want to say to the traders out there. Please, let us unite. Let us not look at the personality that makes the speech or puts in the effort. Because those of us that is here, we are committed till we close our eyes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shireen, for those powerful, powerful words. Lorraine, I'm going to give you an opportunity for some closing words too, for some encouragement in terms of just Saita. What you've heard here tonight, I'm sure makes your heart smile. So just give us some closing words, please, Lorraine.
Thank you very much, Louise. I'm very motivated by the work that Saita is doing and the packages that they offer to members. It is very encouraging. And also, it's very clear for whoever is interested in being a member what they will gain by being part of Saita. And speaking also from a global level, I would like to encourage members and would-be members out there to say we should continue as a united force to call for the just and fair transitioning of the informal economy to formality. Because out there is a perception with some governments, whether it's deliberate or whether it's by oversight, to say that formalization of the informal economy is taxation. That is not true.
Mhm.
There is a whole lot involved in formalizing the informal economy. There are certain conditions that member states also have to meet to protect, to safeguard the rights of the informal economy workers, as well as to assist them to grow and create a conducive environment for informal economy to transition to formality in line with the ILO recommendation 204. When we go through the ILO recommendation 204, it is quite clear on what is expected of member states, on how the informal economy can be transitioned to formality by our different countries. And this is also an advantage for organizations to be part of a global movement such as StreetNet, because we do have an opportunity to engage in the International Labour Conference processes on behalf of the broader informal economy workers to ensure that whatever international labor standards are crafted there, we get the voice of the informal economy workers in. I will also speak to the quite recent convention, which is the ILO Convention 190 on the elimination of violence and harassment. Violence and harassment are very prevalent within the informal economy work. And we need to upscale our unity, because there are countries. I am happy that Shireen has said there is freedom of movement, freedom of association. That is very good where Saita and members are concerned. But there are countries which still continue to put informal economy workers in a corner, treat them as a public nuisance, and also take away a lot of their rights. And also there is a lot of harassment and violence against these workers. This is quite opposed to the ILO Convention 190, which promotes the protection of all workers in the different workplaces and in the world of work. So we have a lot of work to unite and to speak with one voice, so that at the end of the day, we will have the slogan that we believe in to say, nothing for us without us. And we should continue in our respective countries to call and demand for a seat at the table when it comes to social dialogue platforms, so that we articulate our issues and nobody speaks on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I think to South African informal traders, if having Saita only represent us on harassment and violence, then we've already bridged and crossed a huge hurdle. Paul, I'm going to ask you again, please, just with our viewers, share the contact details that anybody can contact you on to become a Saita member, to become part of this movement, to become part of having your voice heard.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the email address is membership@sahita.org.za, membership@sahita.org.za, and the phone number for WhatsApp 061 547 5879. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Paul. Rashida, final word is yours in closing.
I am just in awe. The fact that we have our live shows in Straight Talk Saita and bringing on board international leadership like we have tonight in Lorraine, the president of StreetNet. I can only see that, like I would say, or someone told me, the sky is not the limit. We will be there and go beyond the sky. With the team that we have in the Economic Development Forum, we must not forget the people that's behind Saita, the people that is working day in and day out to ensure that we reach our aims, our goals, our protection for our members, that we stand up tall and engage at any level, that no one speaks for us, nothing about us without us. I thank all the viewers, I thank all the panelists, and it has just been great and awesome to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. And that's our talk for tonight. Thank you to each of the panelists for availing yourselves for this evening. Thank you for sharing your journeys with us and for setting the goal for what our journey ahead is going to be like together. Make sure that you become a Saita member. The link to the form will be posted in the Facebook comments, so you have no reason not to join us. Remember, nothing about us without us. Until the next time for Saita Talks, I'm Louise. Goodbye.